Welcome to the Burnt Brass Homestead channel. We have a small orchard on a homestead. We get enough fruit to eat right away as well as preserve and enjoy at a later time. Freeze, can, dehydrate, freeze-dried, as well as ferment are all the methods I use to preserve the fruit. Recently, we received a bag of apples from a friend. Since there were too many apples to eat, I decided to dehydrate and freeze-dry them. So in this video, I show the difference between dehydrated and freeze-dried apples. I will be using the KitchenAid spiralizer and corer set I purchased over the Christmas holiday season for, I believe, 40 or 50% off. I also have 2 manual pillars in the event we harvest apples but have no electricity. I really like this spiralizer. Although I'm using it to prep apples, from the images on the box you can see you can also use it for vegetables like zucchini to be used in place of spaghetti pasta, then topped with your desired sauce. Or you could do like a half and half, using the zucchini spirals and half pasta noodles. That is if you were trying to cut back on your carbs. But this spiralizer definitely saved time when slicing these apples. The first few apples I used the peeling tool to see how well it both peeled and sliced the apples. I ended up removing the peeling tool for the remainder of the batch. I actually look forward to our pear harvest later this year, at which point I plan on using this tool to prep some of the pears to dehydrate and freeze dry. We will see how well that turns out then. These are some of the apples that will be dehydrated, so I want to quickly put them on the dehydrator rack before they start turning brown due to oxidation. So most of you are familiar with dehydrating. Dehydrating is the process of removing moisture using low to medium heat to preserve food. Removing the moisture with heat changes the texture as well as the mass of the food. After placing all of the apples on the rack in the dehydrator, I set the temperature to 135 degrees Fahrenheit and 57 degrees Celsius for about 6 to 8 hours. With the dehydrator going, now it is time to prepare the apples to be freeze-dried. Freeze-drying, or lyophilization, works by first freezing the food, then reducing the pressure, thus creating a vacuum, and adding heat to allow the frozen water in the material to sublimate. Sublimation is the process of turning ice into a gas. The water vapor adheres to the cold condenser and solidifies. The vacuum helps the food hold its shape and volume as the moisture is being removed to preserve it. I intentionally dehydrated way more apples than I freeze-dried. While both are good, we prefer dehydrated apples over freeze-dried much more. What's funny is, I think we like freeze-dried bananas and strawberries better. Go figure. Freeze-dried apples have a shelf life of 10 to 15 years if stored properly. It is stated that dehydrated apples have a shelf life of 6 to 12 months if stored properly. However, I can confirm that we ate a quart-sized batch of dehydrated apples I dehydrated that were 30 months old, and they taste great. Both the dehydrated and freeze-dried apple chips are done. Hear the crisp of the apples now that the moisture has been removed from them. Also, see the difference in color and mass. Although I have both a Harvest Right freeze dryer and a dehydrator, in today's economy, I do not recommend anybody purchase a freeze dryer to preserve food unless they absolutely have the extra funds available. Instead, I would recommend first investing in a dehydrator, which you can get for anywhere between $50 and $200. A dehydrator is sufficient to preserve food with a shelf-stable life up to 15 years, depending on the food and if properly stored. With all of the apple chips placed in the mason jar, I removed the air using a food saver, which will keep them shelf stable for many months. However, these apple chips will not last through the summer, which is why I look forward to our fall harvest to make more. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe to help this small channel to grow.